Hello, football fans, and welcome back to another James Talks About the NFL, or NFL football. And today, I'm going to be talking about Jack Del Rio again. Just like my first video, I'm going to be talking about Jack Del Rio again. But this time, instead of him having guts and going for two, he got his sweet, sweet revenge yesterday, and I will discuss that, and I will give a little bit of a backstory and talk about how he got his revenge. So, this all started back 13 years ago, back in 2003, when the Jacksonville Jaguars hired Jack Del Rio, Carolina Panthers defensive coordinator at that time, which he was only the defensive coordinator for us in that one season in 2002, by the way. Just to add a little spice there, so he is a year of Carolina connection. Go Panthers. But anyway, in 2003, the Jaguars hired Del Rio as their second coach to succeed Tom Coughlin. And he guided the Jacksonville Jaguars to the playoffs in 2005 and 2007. And then things just didn't work out too well. Like, they weren't going to the playoffs, and then in 2011, so 5 years ago, and it was just about at the end of the season too, Jack Del Rio was fired by the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was fired after week 14 or 15, I can't remember exactly. But I do know that he was fired in December of 2011, right before the season ended. And ever since then, he had been the defensive coordinator under John Fox in Denver. Another John Fox connection going back to 2002. But yeah, so he was defensive coordinator for the Broncos, and then I can't remember if he took the Raiders head coaching job in 2015 before the new staff of Gary Kubiak and Rick Dennison and Wade Phillips, the defensive coordinator, Rick Dennison being the offensive coordinator, and John Elway being the head coach. But regardless, in January of 2015, he takes that Raiders job, that Oakland Raiders job. And, meanwhile, in Jacksonville, they're just kind of fumbling around with a one-year coach in 2012 and Mike Mularkey, and then they have their current coach they hired in January of 2013 in Gus Bradley. So Gus Bradley, the current Jaguars head coach, is not Jack Del Rio's successor, but yeah, so this year, and last year the Raiders look good too, but this year the Raiders look really good. And Jack Del Rio and the Oakland Raiders were set to face Gus Bradley and the Jacksonville Jaguars in I think this week is yesterday was week 7. Today it concludes with the Monday night game of the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans battling it out. Brock Osweiler and another game against his former team, just like Del Rio. But I wouldn't say that's revenge because Brock Osweiler just ran and took money. Kind of stole from the Texans. But yes, regardless though, despite the fact that Gus Bradley is not Jack Del Rio's successor and the guy that Jack Del Rio was fired for, effectively, after they fired him and after the interim coach. But the game was being played in Jacksonville, in Everbank Field, I think that's the stadium. But yeah, so to make it better, instead of Jack Del Rio's successor as head coach for the Jags coaching, it is being played in Jacksonville, which adds that level of greatness to the revenge factor. So, yes. Hold on, let me scoot up here. So, yes, Jack Del Rio got his sweet, sweet revenge against quite a few of the players. Well, I don't think quite a few, but still a few players that he coached in Jacksonville. Sure, they've had a little bit of a uniform change, but I'm pretty sure that Jack Del Rio loved that. I know since he's an NFL coach, he will try to downplay that as, oh, it's just another win. We are 5-2, baby. Just win, baby. You know, Al Davis's trademark thing for the Raiders back when he was the owner before he died. Rest in peace, Al. But, yeah, so I think Jack Del Rio would try to downplay it if you asked him about beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I can definitely tell it felt good to him from a revenge standpoint. And definitely from a win standpoint. I mean, they just came in and they just beat Jacksonville up. Won like 33-16, so they scored twice as many points as Jacksonville. So, yeah, I just know that, well, Jack Del Rio has certainly turned around the Oakland Raiders' fortunes. So, I guess um, Jacksonville is wishing that they still had him. But yes, I'm not too sure. I do not know any of the Jaguars brass, any of their front office people, but I'm pretty sure that that one really stung coming from a coach that they had fired mid-season. Well, it was more closer to the end of the season, but still, you fired him during the season, and granted it was 5 years ago, but still, I would still be upset if a team fired me as a coach during the season, and I would so want to coach against them and beat them. So, once again, I've just got to praise Jack Del Rio, but not as much this time as the 2-point conversion attempt against the Saints back in week 1. Yeah, if you haven't watched that, then you can go back and watch that to see what I'm talking about. But yes, so uh, Jack Del Rio just still has that Raiders team believing that they can win. Just like back in week 1, whenever I said that I loved that 2-point attempt and conversion because of the fact that it shows that Jack Del Rio wants to win. And So far, they're doing pretty good on the season. I mean, I don't want to jinx them, but they're doing pretty well. I mean, they're doing a lot better than what they have been doing in the past decade, since like 2002, which, mind you, which was the Raiders' last playoff appearance. But yes, Jack Del Rio got his sweet, sweet revenge against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And my gosh, am I happy that he was able to get that revenge. uh, but yes, guys, I do believe that will do it for this James Talks About NFL Football. And so, yeah, until Wednesday, whenever I do post another one of these, I will see you all later. Thank you all for watching, and go Panthers!